Welcome to the Ivy Career Management Podcast. Today we're stepping out of the studio to bring you stories and strategies from students, special guests, and the career management team. While we find a quiet space, make yourself comfortable and let's get started. Today's topic on the podcast is cohort recruiting. We are going to dive in what you can expect for full-time recruiting, when it's happening, who it's for, and how to get the most out of it. And joining me today is Amanda from the corporate recruitment team. Thank you for coming.
Hi, Kate. Thanks for having me. It's been a while. We haven't done this in a bit.
I know, I've missed you. Before we dive into events, we want to set the stage for our student listeners. What is cohort recruiting?
That's a great question. So campus recruitment, when you're here at Ivy, your time here at Ivy, it's separated into two really distinct cycles. Cohort recruiting happens sort of in the fall timeframe on the full-time side. And it will be for those companies and industries that are really early movers. So think your finance companies, your consulting firms, CPG, some early tech. But really the most important thing to keep in mind about cohort recruiting is that the companies who are recruiting at this point in time, they know well in advance what they're hiring for next spring, which is really different to later in the year when we move into what we would call more regular recruiting, which is companies who sort of pick up recruiting as needs become realized or available for students.
Okay, and what kind of student groups participate in full-time cohort recruiting?
Absolutely, yeah. So all of our programs, so whether you're an HBA2, an MSc graduating in December or next spring, or our MBA students, you will all have an opportunity to participate in cohort recruiting.
Okay, and I know sometimes coaches get questions if a group has done cohort recruiting. Is there ever a chance that they'll do regular recruiting or cohort recruiting at different times of the year?
That is such a great question. I've worked here at Ivy for a very, very long time. And so I do see this quite a bit. Typically they know well in advance what their hiring needs are going to be. And so when they're coming at this time of year, it's sort of the one stop. They're coming in, they're doing their recruiting, and they're extending their offers. But there's always things that happen. The market can change. A new project could be picked up by a company. I wouldn't say it is a guarantee. Like if you see, a big bank or a McKinsey come and recruit now, the chances of them coming back to recruit later, but it's not off the table. Sometimes it does happen.
Okay, but certainly what I'm hearing is put your best foot forward during that cohort recruitment period.
You got it.
May be the only time.
That is true. Very good. Yes.
How do firms decide which students to include in cohort recruiting?
Yeah, great question. I mean, each company decides. There could be a lot of factors. From a corporate perspective, so on my team, we work really closely with companies to help them understand student profiles, where they are in the recruitment journey, and help them make those decisions. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it really comes down to what their hiring needs are going to be. So if it's a company that is recruiting more on the entry level side, first role post-graduation, they're going to connect with our HBA and our MSc students. If it is a company that has maybe mid or more senior level positions, they're looking at our MBA candidates because they'll have that pre-industry experience prior to coming into the program. And in some cases, companies have strategies that's all about, converting their interns from their summer interns to full-time hires when they graduate. So that could be, if they're recruiting at a 2-year MBA school and they're looking at that cohort, or if it's our HBA and MSc BAs who have been out on internship and they're looking to bring them back full-time.
Fair enough. And let's get into events. What kind of events can students expect to see from cohort recruitment?
Yeah, no, we are so excited. And so are the companies. They're really looking forward to connecting with you all this year. We've got a really strong lineup of events to help you explore what's out there and get a feel for everything. So everything from coffee chats, job fairs, and we're also piloting a new option called the Ivy Hiring Hub.
So we've got a little bit of the old, a little bit of new. Let's start with a fan favorite, the job fairs.
Yes, job fairs. Well, in career management, we love a good job fair, and for good reason. Job fairs, they bring a range of employers representing a lot of different industries. And for students, the benefit is it's a one-stop shop. You can come out to a job fair, you can connect with, a dozen firms in one night and not have to think about doing day after day of doing different types of recruiting activities. The other thing that I really love about a job fair is that it's more of a casual environment. So it's really just all about networking, walking up to a table, introducing yourself, asking your questions. It's a great way to maximize your time and really get to know people and build on relationships.
What can our students expect from fall fall job fairs?
Yes. So we have 3 job fairs happening in September, September 8th, 9th, and 10th. These job fairs will be exclusively for our HBA and MSc students.
Okay.
And one thing I will note, so it will be for companies who are doing both full-time and summer intern recruitment for Cohort. So if you're a full-time HBA 2 or an MSc, you can expect to see some HBA 1s and MSc BAs there. So be sure to give them a hand and help them sort of break into those networking circles, because you've been there before and you know that can be intimidating. And again, when we think about the companies that will be represented, it's those early movers.
Okay.
It's the ones who know well in advance what they're going to be hiring for. So be ready. You'll see job postings. If they're not up already, they'll go up quickly after job fair events, and interviews will happen pretty quickly after too.
Okay. So whirlwind. I also know that our MBAs listening, watching might be thinking, hey, where's our spot? So tell me a little bit more about what our MBAs can look forward to, or why they're not included in that one.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, our MBA program is a bit different because it runs from April to April. And so for cohort recruiting on the MBA side, a lot of that took place over the summer months. You saw a lot of treks, you saw a lot of companies coming out and hosting events here at Ivy, or they were doing virtual events or inviting you to their Toronto offices. And so a lot of that big, bulk of cohort recruiting for the MBAs have happened. Now, that's not to say that you're not going to see other companies come in. So, different industries, you can expect CPG companies, some on the tech side. They'll be more focused on, I would say, either MBA specific information sessions, similar to what MBAs would have experienced in the summer, or moving into coffee chats, because coffee chats are a really targeted approach and it allows companies to connect with MBAs in a different and more personal way.
2 things I take from that. 1, MBAs aren't left out. It's just that their cohort recruiting has already happened in those areas. So this is something separate for the HBAs and MSCs. Second was coffee chats, those personal connections to start relationships or be maintaining relationships. Arguably the most underrated part of recruiting.
100%.
Okay.
I love a coffee chat. And again, coffee chats will be for everybody, HBA, MBA, and MSc. Yeah. And what I love about a coffee chat is it's really more of a relaxed, informal conversation where you can dig deeper to get those insights that you're really looking for as a full-time candidate. You might have had an opportunity, if you were participating in intern recruitment last year as an HBA or an MSc BA, to go to information sessions. Right now, you don't need that anymore. You've got that information. You're looking to really build a connection with somebody and get those burning platform questions answered. So they will be either virtual or in person here at Ivy. They'll be scheduled outside of your class. You'll have a lot of flexibility to work around your electives. And again, giving you the space to ask those meaningful questions and really build on those connections.
Very cool. And as a fun fact, the podcast has an episode on coffee chatting. I sat down with Julian Birkinshaw for a coffee chat because he's the only person in the building who intimidates me. So if folks want to see an example of, again, how you can make the most of that time, there is a podcast episode for that.
I'm sure you crushed it.
I hope I did. We'll let the students decide. Now, you also mentioned something new this year, the hiring hub. So what is that?
Yes. So this is a new thing that we're doing this year based on feedback that we're getting from students and employers. They're all looking for different ways to engage.
Okay.
And so here's how it works. Basically, an employer will set up a table right in the Kraminska Hall. You'll have time to stop by, whether you're in between a class, whether you're on your way to a social event, whether you're on your way to a club event, you'll see them set up. And it's really just a really informal way for you to approach, introduce yourself, ask some questions. You don't need to sign up. You don't need to have a pitch. It's really just meant to be this informal way to connect and have a chat and get some information to start to build on relationships and think about what full-time recruiting will look like for you.
Okay, so if someone sees that and it's feeling like a surprise, that's not a bad thing.
No, that's right. Yes.
It's actually quite normal. That's how it's supposed to be. And feel free to just walk up.
You got it. Absolutely.
Okay.
Everyone will set up in the hall and we'll make sure that you're aware who's coming. But yeah, if you see a company that you never thought that you wanted to chat to, it doesn't hurt to stop and have a conversation.
So with all this going on, where can students find what they need? The when, the where, the who?
Yes. Well, I mean, 1220, obviously. It's your one-stop shop for everything recruiting. And I will also just quickly plug for all of our students currently in program. If you haven't already, I highly, highly recommend checking out the Ready to Recruit module.
Is that in 1220 as well?
It is on your LEARN community page in your resource section. And the reason I highlight it is because it's full of tons of great information and tips, but there's also a really, really comprehensive overview of how to actually navigate the 1220 portal. So
Fantastic.
it'll show you everything from how to look up employers, how to look up past job postings, how to understand, salary information. And there's even this really great section called Activity Stream, where my team on the corporate side, we put information we hear directly from employers right into the system so that students can access it.
Mm-hmm. During my MSc and MBA interviews, I've now started saying, we believe in having no secrets. And that's what Activity Stream is. If we know it and can share it, that's where you'll find it. So that's fantastic. As we wrap up, do you have any final tips for our students getting ready for cohort recruitment?
I do. The full-time recruitment side, I would say, is a very different experience. So a couple of quick hits that I will share. When you're thinking about full-time recruiting, at this point, employers are really looking for focus. So they want to know what you're aiming for, why you're interested in them. So really take the time to get clear on what your goals are, because it's going to help to set you up for success. You want to make sure that you're able to articulate that really well. The second thing I'll say is that full-time recruiting, it's really a lot less structured than it might have been in previous intern or other sort of recruiting cycles that students have gone through before. You're not going to see as many of those big events. It's really more at the full-time stage about one-on-one conversations and making really deep personal connections. So you're going to want to keep that in mind. And then always too, timelines will vary. We've talked a lot about some of the industries that will be represented here during cohort. Some of them might be quick, some of them might take a little bit longer. So again, whenever you're unsure, check 1220, look at past information. That'll give you a really good sense of timeline and help you to understand sort of how things will ebb and flow. And then the last piece I will share is just be patient. I think, you know this from your experience too. Full-time recruiting, it can take a while.
Yeah.
And so, just keep that in mind. Everyone's journey looks very different when it comes to full-time recruiting. And so stay engaged, lean on a coach if you need it, and trust the process.
Absolutely. And as you start getting those invitations for interviews, whether it's September, December, or next April, May, or June, as you get those interviews, please put your questions into the interview database. You can also look into the interview database to see interview questions from other students as you're moving to that part of recruiting. But that can be one way to walk into these situations feeling more confident, more informed, and putting your best foot forward. Thank you again, Amanda, for the great advice, the great information, and all the best to our students as they get ready to kick off cohort recruiting.
Good luck, everybody.
Thank you for watching. If you'd like to see more podcast content, check out your career management community on LEARN. If you'd like to connect with career management, you can book a one-on-one appointment via 1220 or visit us in room 2235. Take good care.